Hey folks, Paul Shields here with another Forex market preview or overview for the week starting the 10th of September 2018. We'll just run through what I'm looking for this week and the setups that I might be looking for, and we'll follow it through with a recap at the end of the week. Just a quick disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Any profits or losses that you may incur through taking any of these setups or listening to any of this is taken at your own risk. I won't accept responsibility for any profits or losses incurred through listening to these videos. However, these are the setups that I'll be looking for. So without further ado, I'll dig into it. Looking at the US index, we've got this consolidation area that I've marked out in this grey candle for the last month or more. There's a small grey box up here, which is this down candle prior to the last run up. Bit of consolidation in there, which we keyed off of to break down into this one. You can see this last block of two down candles prior to this up is what we've triggered off out of here. I had this up candle here marked out to see whether there was a reaction off that. It wasn't really. We've come back into these highs here, back into the top area, and sort of really just consolidating in here. There's a couple of options that I see. We could rally through, run these short-term highs out, back into this area or even up into this line of resistance up here, and then either break through it or break back down and continue this consolidation. We could obviously run the highs and then break down. We could break down from here, retest and break this consolidation and continue a longer move to the downside for the rest of the year. Now we've got to think about what are we looking for the remainder of the year. We opened up the year, we've rallied. This could be a high of the year in here. May well look for another stab up before breaking down and come back down to fill in some of this gap running into the end of the year. Kind of don't mind that idea. Otherwise, we could see an extended rally and come back up to these levels on the weekly, up around the 99 to 100 big figures would be the upside if it wants to break out to the upside. So there's plenty of scope. There's no real rush on the weekly at the moment. It's pretty clear. We've come up, consolidated, we've made a stab up. If we break down through this consolidation, then we can look for some retests and continue trend down. If it just continues to wick up on down in here while it's between this high and the bottom of this consolidation, I'm going to be treating it as a consolidating market, which is what it is in my opinion. So direction on the US index is, personally, I feel that it is going to rally at least to run these highs out in the short term, and then I do feel there may well be a wicky type of day, whether it's Monday, Tuesday this week, we get a wick up and a rejection of that, and then look for a breakdown back into this range, run out these lows, and potentially run out the low of this consolidation. That's what my gut feeling is. I'll take it day by day and see what I get. But yeah, to start off with, potentially a couple of days at least rally with maybe a wicky kind of kangaroo tail or long wick today to form some sort of rejection of these highs. On the 4 hourly, that would look like a rally up rejection of these, maybe into these lows and break down. Otherwise, there is the potential that it might just break down straight from this level and run out these lows. So the week's range would be looking something possibly like a rally up, break down, and then pull back, something like that. That is maybe what I'm looking for. Forming a weekly candle that looks something like that. If it breaks straight down, it could do a run on those lows, then a run higher, and a pullback, something like that. There's a couple of options that are there. And obviously, I know it kind of covers all bases, but you've got to look at that. You've got to look at old highs here, old lows here, in a consolidation. Possibly run that wick down, pull back, or drop down. Maybe even just back into this level, and then rally out of that, reaching for this level, and then pulling back perhaps. Or it could just shoot straight up here and reject it really strongly. Break back down towards these lows, and then pull back up here, and then we can look for some continued bearishness next week. So right in the middle of a range here, this high, this low, we'll play it by ear and see what it gives us. A little bit not terribly confident in either direction really at the moment. I'll just take each day as it comes and play it as I see it. So I'm sorry if I'm not committed to one way or the other, but that's what happens in these consolidation markets. Looking at the cable on the daily, we had a strong rally up, rejection of that. If this candle was at a high, had clear room to the left of it, if it was positioned up here where it ran a high and rejected it like that, I'd like it as a rejection candle. As it is, I don't like it much at all, stuck down there in the middle of nowhere. Just in terms of its own, as a kangaroo tail type rejection candle. There is potential to come down and run these lows. We're still in this downtrend. We've got lower low. There was a bit of a break of a smaller swing high in here, but that's not enough to give us a strong uptrend on the daily, in my opinion. We've made a rally and failed to break these highs. This wasn't really a break of these lows either. It just sort of wicked through it and rejected. So we're back in the middle of a range without any strong directional premise. So on the hourly, on the 4 hourly, on the cable, the British Pound USD, got a median line. This is, well, it's the same as the daily median line, but it's the median line of the last swing high. This low here didn't really break these lows by much. Wasn't much more than a stop run through these lows here. So for mine, it hasn't really confirmed a lower low in this swing here. So we've got a swing low here, high, higher low, higher high, and then really equal lows for mine. We've double bottomed this, created a bit of a shelf here, right on top of this old consolidation, and broken higher, run higher here and failed to break this high, rejected it right off the middle slope of this median line, which gave good targets actually for a longer heading here on Friday. Back up to here, somewhere it's about 100 pips up, and then got stopped out break even on the remainder. I was actually looking for a run up above these highs and a connection of this median line, some 250 pips away. That was a little bit aggressive, but that's okay. This median line, I think, is still a good good projection of where price may go in the future. We've got a low here, an A, got an A, B, an A down here, a B up here, and a C. Pretty clear C level here. And we've come back to the middle. I think there's a high chance that we'll come back down and retest the low of the median line, and bounce off that back to the middle, potentially back to run these highs, and terminate maybe above these highs, at the upper slope of the median line. We've also got this down candle prior to the run up here. May well get a point where we converge with this into this order block on the median line at the same point, and that gives us a nice level of confluence. Lines up also on our fibs with a 61 to 70.5% retracement, which is ICT's optimal trade entry. It's well known for that level, and then would make a symmetrical price swing to the 200%, which would be that swing lines up really nicely with a connection with 161 to 200% extension of that fib. Lines up nicely with the upper parallel on the median line. So a lot of my trades this week will be looking for that to play out. If it breaks through this, then obviously we're back in the range. For me to confirm bearishness, we need to break this low. So at the moment, the bullish play is still in place. This breakdown here hasn't broken this low by enough. If we break down from here and then form another higher low in here, then we might go for shorts to run this low. But for the moment, I am bullish GBP USD for those reasons and off that level. Get rid of that to keep it clear. We've also got the 90 and the 120 MA on our H4. They've been slowly getting closer together and look like potentially maybe crossing for this shift to the upside. So I don't really use the MAs for much other than a little bit of confluence. They can help you from changing direction too soon. If you have a look here through this chop, they never crossed. And here, potentially preventing bias from getting bullish inside of what was just a consolidation chop in a continued breakdown. And I took some heavy losses through this period, expecting a higher drive higher. Perhaps having these two fairly close together but long-term MAs on the chart may have prevented that. So I'll keep a bit of an eye on a long term. Here's another area where we were chopping around a lot. They did cross to the downside here and then cross back to the upside here, so they're still going to get caught a bit, but it might just help prevent some losses. You never know. It's an idea I'm playing with. So yeah, I'm looking for a breakdown into this and then a swing higher. That's the main swing I'm looking for the week. On the hourly, however, if we have a look at this, here is our 4-hourly median line that we've got set here. Have a look on this on the daily. I had a daily median line here. This was a daily median line that I was using. We keyed off the bottom of it here. We've broken through the middle line, retested the middle line, broken through the upper line. We've come back down into it and we've failed to reach the middle of the median line, and broken back through the upper level. of that median line. So there is a nice confluence where everything sort of lines up here with a retest of that, a retest of the new median line to the upside for potential run higher. So that's where these pink lines come from. It's the downward sloping, the upper level of the downward sloping daily median line that's just been broken. And this is the new 4-hourly median line to the upside, which you can see when it was formed here. We came back to the middle and we keyed off at Friday for another run higher, back into the, and we've broken down. So I am now looking for a break back down into this is the 4-hourly order block. Lines up really nicely over here for a potential Tuesday low of the week scenario. May get it Monday tonight, depending on what news is about and how much volatility we get tonight. But ideally a Tuesday low of the week London setup here would be really nice, a spike down rejection due to swing type arrangement, and then look for a run back to the middle or upper median line would give us something to the tune. We've got something Tuesday, it's 350 pips to the upper line of the median line. That would be a really nice weekly swing, even if you just got a run back above these highs and a break above here. You're talking 230, 250 pips potential in that. So even if I miss the exact low in that, there's still plenty of room to get a nice swing in that. Out of that, it may even take a couple of weeks to get up here. It might break this high, retest the median line, and then break higher next week. So that might be in play for a couple of weeks. We'll wait and see. It may even just completely fail, and I might be totally wrong. That happens a lot too. So the plan for tonight going in, I have in the shorter term, I'm looking for a breakdown to this line level here, fill in a bit of this void. So I would like to see, if I'm going to get short, I'd like to get short above the today's open, which is here. There's the open of today there at 1.2918 approximately. So I'd like to get short above that. I mean, I could go short with a position now, but I can actually see a rally up into this area up here, around 29.50 maybe. This lines up nicely with this being a stop run reversal on these highs. Run higher, break down, retest the highs, and then break down to here across tonight into consolidate maybe and drop down in London, or hit that and then drop down further and reject in London tomorrow. So I'm looking for a rally up, break down. This rally up that we've had may be it. So if it breaks down here going into London and then comes back up and retests, I'll look to get short, which stops above the high of the day. Targeting this low for around 50 pips. If it rallies straight up in here, I'll look for a swing high on the hourly or 15-minute chart, and to get short again for a 70, 80 pip run down into 128.59, 128.60. Might even take profits at 128.65. 128.70 gives us above these highs, just to make sure we get a fill, and I don't mind leaving a bit on the table on a Monday and then catching the main move of the week, hopefully as the swing reversal back up to the upside. So that's cable. Euro USD, I know you notice here I've got the candlesticks on a lot of these charts. That's with the candlesticks. Sometimes it's a bit clearer if you just look at the open, high, low, close bars. It takes a bit of the noise and the mess off the chart. Gives you a different perspective. You'll also notice I'm using median lines a fair bit at the moment. I've been studying, I think they're called market geometry. With Tim something or other his name is, YouTube, and he uses a lot of median lines, and I like his style of analysis. So I've been implementing those a little bit, along with a lot of ICT's techniques in order blocks and his general approach to price action structured trading. Anyway, we've got a down sloping median line setting up here. There's a daily, a higher time frame one here on the H4, which I think is still in play really. We've failed to break above this consolidation, so we've still got lower lows, lower high, break down, a swing high formed here on the daily. So for mine, we're still bearish on the Euro USD. What was this? I think I had it on H4. So again, probably be looking to get short from the around the intersection of this level and a breakdown. It doesn't really fit in with my bullishness on the cable. However, with the potential for the US index to consolidate and continue consolidating, it does allow the euro and the cable to go in opposite directions to each other. So what will happen is that when cable is rallying, euro is consolidating, and when euro is dropping, cable is consolidating. So that's sort of what I'll be looking for. Potential rally up into this area. Now these highs, I don't like these very much. They're not clean. This high here is nice. There's a cleaner high. This is not. So we may still get a smashing through these into this upper level of the median line and a rejection to the downside. I do like I would be looking at a potential swing higher to form in here on a lower time frame chart. Get short there for a run down here to the lower level of this green 4-hourly down sloping median line. It's potentially you could look for a run breakdown below 1.5, potentially even through to the hesitation level 1.425. Lines up nicely with a spike down into this and into the centre, the middle line of this median line set on the daily to the downside. So if it breaks and makes a clean break through the centre line on the H4 time frame and then comes back and retests it, I'll look to get short off that for a breakdown. On the euro, I don't think the 15-minute gives us much clearer view of this at all. We look like we're going to run through Friday's lows. We could then quite easily spike through that and reject quite strongly. Come back up here towards moving averages and all that sort of thing, fill in a bit of this void, back up into these lows. I don't think the 15-minute time frame doesn't really give me much clarity at this point. I use that more for entries. I've been playing around with different moving averages and things on this chart as well. But the main analysis is centered around this median line set. Lower lows, lower highs in here. Yes, we ran out this high, but the main price swing is this high to this low to these highs, and a breakdown. So I'm looking now for a lower low to come in, potentially rally back up in here would be nice to get a premium price on the short, rather than getting in down here. I'd prefer a rally up in here, look for a short up there for the week and a drop. Euro GBP. Again, we might just scrap a few of these moving averages that are just not helpful. Messing up the chart. This was a really nice setup here last week on the Euro GBP. We had a down sloping median line around the 0.9 big figure. On the hourly, pretty clear, lower lows, lower highs, comes back down, keys off the centre of the median line in one nice daily move, breaks down, rally back up into the lower end of the consolidation, order blocks, mitigation blocks in here, right around the 1.9 big figure. I did not get an entry on this trade. Absolutely a sweet short there. for a trade back down into the hesitation zone, or the centre line of the median level that all sort of lines up to a similar area around the 89.25. Really nice, would have been a gorgeous short even just from there for 75 pips, 75, 80 pips late Friday. So again, I'm looking for a potential rally back up that would occur with cable dropping and euro consolidating or going a bit higher maybe on Monday. I'm looking for a rally up. So we're looking for cable to drop, euro to rally, and then cable to rally, euro to drop would force the euro GBP back down again for another leg down on this median line set to head lower. So you can see the structure there. We were forming higher highs, higher lows. Now we've got a lower high, lower low. Confirms the downtrend in place. Look for a rally, short the rally back into the median line level. Might not occur right up at this level I've got marked here. Might be here. Any sort of swing high forms up around here on the hourly, and I'll be getting short. And targeting, I'll be fairly aggressive with my targets. I'll be looking for 88.75 maybe, perhaps all the way down to 88.25. So there's some big targets there. You know, any short there would stop up here and has 35 pips, and you can look for 90 to 150 pips on the Euro GBP. I'll be wrong if we break and close above the 0.9 big figure. Euro yen, we're inside a down sloping median line set. In fact, we've got two. I think we've got one on the daily. We've got this big one here on the daily, which isn't a very clean one actually, looking at the setup there, but this little turquoise one here is a nice down sloping median line set there. Just been keying off the center line. Whether we reach the upper level here, I don't think we will. Personally, I think we're going to break through, retest, and continue to the downside. So if we get a nice clean breakthrough, we might bounce off the 127.50 level back up. Then I'll look to get short, perhaps to go down to 126.75 would be reasonable targets for a short, perhaps there. You could look for a weekly down target of 125 big figure. That's quite aggressive to the downside. If that fails, then we'll deal with it when it comes. US yen, we're sort of stuck in between. We've been in a lot of consolidation. Stuck in between two median line sets. You've got this nice one that's just been followed quite closely on the daily. Keyed off it nicely here. Again, bounced off it late last week. You can see that here. This is the daily median line set in pink, and that's keyed off it really nicely a couple of times here. And we may well be set to head back up to the centre line on that median line, which doesn't really line up with our shorts on the euro yen. It could consolidate and be really choppy and hard to trade. It's been really choppy the last few months, and the Swiss lines up with the USDX being inside that consolidation. So I will probably be out of it. However, I will be following its progress to see how long it continues through this 4-hourly median line set we've got here. We've respected it here, smashed down through it, come back here. We've broken through it, retested it. I'd now look for a rally back up to the upper level. Perhaps then a break back down where it re-intersects with the daily, and then see whether we get a break out to the upside and look for 112, or even sort of 113s above these highs and back up to the center line on the daily median line. If we make a clean break through this lower median line level and retest it, then we could look for continued shorts to the downside. For hourly US yen, I was looking for this for a short last week. I had this grey box marked out and I had a pending order right just inside that grey box. It just missed me. And I was looking for targets down here. It was a little bit frustrating, that trade. I had my targets down below, about 20 pips below there. It was about, what's that low there, 77, 97 pips I was looking for. And would have taken me out just here really nicely. Stops were above these highs, 20 pips, 18 pips for a 100 pip profit. Nice 5-to-1 risk reward. It never triggered my short. I was farting about in here. It was very tempting just to get short off that. Maybe I should have, but sometimes that's the way trading goes. And that lined up really nicely with this median line. We'd actually rallied in here, broken down, pulled back. I was looking for a pullback up into this median line, and I was probably just being too cute. You could throw these candlesticks if you want. We hit this, we'd broken down, and it was inside this consolidation. I was just looking for a rally up, a spike up into these lows more, and it never got up there. It peeled off, absolutely sweet as pie. Down to the lower level, and I think my profits were around the daily median line set just in here. I was looking for something like that, or even down to here. Last week on the US yen, so it was a little bit frustrating missing out on that, but that's what happens sometimes when you're trading. Pound yen, we're inside this downward sloper. Failed to hit the middle. Could drop down there. Could go higher. This could be an ABC type setup. I don't have a lot of confidence in it. If we'd hit this center line on this punch down, had hit that and rejected, I'd have a lot more confidence in it. So I don't have a lot of. I'll be just monitoring it to see how it follows. It may hit this, may follow this new upward sloping median line really nicely, trigger off it and run for these upward level. Here we may break through it. May just peel over and come back down at the center line here. Could even come back down here somewhere. So look, I've got no idea on pound yen. I'll be steering clear of that and waiting for a little bit clearer direction as price unfolds on that one. And that about wraps it up for the what I'm looking for in the markets on the second week of September 2018. I'll be back at the end of the week and show you perhaps some of the trades that I was able to take using that analysis going through the week. Good luck and good trading.